If you're watching this and you still think that the corrupt politicians who run our country aren't manufacturing a crisis to destabilize our nation during an election year, then you're either, I'm so sorry, but you're either incredibly dense or you're lying because you plan to benefit from this somehow. I mean, I understand if you didn't know what COVID was about during the last election cycle because so many people were still using social media like Instagram, sharing cute little pictures of their vacation and dance moves on TikTok, but that's not what social media is anymore. You have the information. You can now see what's going on in Israel. You know what's going on in our country. We have people on the ground showing you footage, showing you the truth. We have people like me, millions of other people on here explaining what we're seeing in our lives, our interpretations. Not some mega corporation with ties to big pharma, ties to some big corporate entity that has ties to the Pentagon and the CIA and all the deep state and all the politicians. Just American people. People that don't have any axe to grind. People who are only worried about their safety and having, for once, a government that actually represents that. Because we haven't had that, I would argue, since Kennedy was taken out by the same people. If we don't see stuff like this and react positively, not negatively, this is not a call to fight the invasion. This is a call to squelch their plans. I suggest that we flip this around on them because they want us to fight the invasion that they are supporting. They've already given them cell phones and plane tickets and hotel rooms. It's one extra step to provide them with munitions. It's one extra step to provide them with legal protections, which they've already done. They won't be prosecuted for their crimes. They're allowed to have guns. These rulings are happening right now.
Mi gente, he pensado invadir una casa en United States, ya que me enteré que existe una ley que dice que si una casa no está habitada, podemos expropiarla. ¿Capichi? Muchachos, aquí en United States también se aplica la de invasión de terreno.
The government is very clearly showing us their intentions. They're showing us their loyalties.
The failure of the United States Congress, if it occurs, not to support Ukraine is close to criminal neglect. It is outrageous.
I have said to people when they ask me if this Capitol crumbled to the ground, the one thing that would remain is our commitment to our aid, and I don't even call it aid, our cooperation with Israel.
To foreign countries, to power. This is their loyalty. And we have social media. This does not have to be a screaming match. This does not have to be who's on the right side. Keenly see this time exactly what they did last time when we had a politician who never even campaigned, literally sat in his basement and managed to get more votes than any politician in the history of the United States. You have the right to speak your mind. You have the right to question elections. Here and abroad, anywhere, you have the right to challenge what you are told. Let me ask you a question. If you really believe that we need to ban guns in America, why aren't you trying to ban politicians? Why aren't you banning bombs? Because more innocent civilians have been killed by bombs and politicians than handguns have ever killed in the history of the device. If we fall for this crisis that they've created and fight amongst ourselves, if we allow the division to take hold that they've worked so carefully to sow amongst us and the people, the millions of people they've brought into this country, if we allow that plan to work, we will end up in a situation that is so destabilized that these corrupt politicians will come in and offer the people a solution. For their safety and security, you just have to give up some rights. You have to give up some of your First and Second Amendment rights. And when you give up your First Amendment right to free speech, and you give up your Second Amendment right to bear arms, you will no longer be free, and you'll never get those freedoms back. This is how government takes control of its people, and it's exactly what the founding fathers were trying to fight. They gave you these two rights so that you could fight your government, that you had the legal right to fight against politicians and your government. If you give up your right to free speech, you won't be free at all. If you give up your right to defend yourself, you'll never be able to defend yourself again. This is how totalitarian governments come into power. This is how you lose the freedom that we were given by the founding fathers when they wrote those explicit rights into the Constitution. The First and Second Amendment, your most important rights, they will be threatened now by this act of destabilization. And they will come in at the end, just like they always do, the heroes to rescue you from the crisis that they've created. It's a trap. I really hope we don't fall for it.